disassembly of the Sirius tablet S701 R2A-1. Problem reoccurring is the DC power port jiggling or not plugging in, allowing the DC charger not to connect to the battery and charging it. So what we need to do, the tools that we need to disassemble are a small screwdriver, a triangle wedge or guitar pick should work, and a small catch can just for the screws to actually just for you not to leave anything missing. Okay, so first of all, you need to look for a easy point for you to use your triangle wedge. Insert through the edge of the screen and the housing to expose a crack. Continue sliding all the way across with the wedge to separate the screen from the housing. You have to follow all around 4 edges with the wedge. If you can hear the cracks, that means it's separating from the housing. There's going to be a small little point here, the headphone jack, where it's going to give you a little trouble. So what you need to do is use your index finger, hold in one corner to expose that crack available for you to continue using the wedge. Move over, continue doing the wedge. Okay. Now that you separated the screen from the assembly, you'll notice that there's a wire that you have to always be careful. Sometimes you might find the speaker connected here in the port down below. So you always have to be careful. Just remove the speaker gently and just leave it magnetized to the screen's edge. And that is this disassembly of the Sirius tablet. Okay, continuing on, the removal of the circuit board to expose the power connection DC port down below here by my thumb. Okay, so what you need to do, you would remove the 2 pieces of tape, the 2 yellow pieces of tape on the back of the board. You see here on with my index finger, following across here, going all the way across to the ribbon cable, and also one on the other side, which is located on near the other side of the motherboard. Okay, so we need to remove that. Usually you can use the wedge just to lift up a little bit on the tape and just pull back to expose the 2 screws on one side. They're 2 small black screws on one side, and expose the other 2 screws by removing the secondary tape on the other side of the board. Pull back to give you clearance to expose the other 2 screws, 1 and 2 here. So after removing those, next you remove the ribbon cable that connects onto the motherboard. This ribbon cable is attached by this little black tab that you just simply lift up with your thumbnail from the center, lift upwards to release the ribbon cable. After removing the ribbon cable, continue on to removing the 4 screws that hold down the motherboard and the chassis together. That's 2. 3. Last one. 4. By allowing the 4 screws to be loose, you're allowed to move the PCB board, the motherboard, over and exposing the defective area DC port. This port right here is the one causing the issue for the unit not to charge, not to have a secure connection. As you can see, there's 5 soldering points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 on each side, and 1 small tail in the back. So after replacing this connection and properly soldering the 4-pin connection 5, including the back, you should be able to have a secure connection and allow the unit to be charging.